Morning, peeps. I'm back, and there's been quite a few people still looking at my last wildcard draft. So I thought I'd better come on and give you my final team because I don't want people looking at last week's version thinking that is in fact my wildcard team. So it's evolved, and this wildcard it's been tricky to be honest. When the game week first started, my kind of natural inclination was to change everything, and in particular, go big at the back, go all in on defensive contributions, and like I said, basically change everything. Well, what in fact has happened is I've still got half the players that I had when I pressed the wildcard button. I've gradually gone back to my old team, except for the fact that I've completely revamped the defence, changed Esteve or Steve into Rodon, and basically tied it up, got rid of Agbadou and replaced him with Senesi. Got Virgil van Dijk and Lacroix in, and Gyökeres and Mateta have come in as well. I did have Strand Larsen and Gui, which really wasn't very good at all. So I've done a lot of housekeeping and tidying up on my wildcard. It's more evolutionary than revolutionary, this wildcard, because the one I had last week, I think it had Tarkowski instead of Rodon, which was like very big at the back. And I didn't really want to be spending all that money. I mean, all these players are great for defensive contributions, but they're also fairly cheap. I've got two 4.5 millions, a 4 million player, I've got a 4.5 million midfielder. So the money I've got on the bench each week isn't much, but the players on it are certainly a big improvement from the players that were on my bench after game week 1. It was basically Burnley defenders and Gui, who didn't even play. So it's a lot better, but still nice and cheap. So I'll quickly run through this and let you know of alternatives that I was thinking of, and which you may well think are better and quite possibly could be. So Sanchez, Ray is an option. I mean, I've got 1 million in the bank here, so Raya would have been an option. A lot of people are going for Raya. I'm happy to keep hold of Sanchez. I don't like spending too much money on keepers. In fact, I was looking at going down to Petrovic instead of Sanchez, who's only 4.5 million. But having Senesi, I didn't really want to double up. And I think Chelsea's defence is pretty good. And my other keeper's only 4 million. So spending 9 on keepers is like my usual sort of every season I tend to spend that amount. So whereas I'm never really comfortable spending 5.5 on a keeper, even though possibly it is the best option. All the models seem to think that Ray is the best one, but whether he is or not, I do not know. So I've gone for Sanchez. Like I said, that defence is pretty good. I saw something on Reddit. Where are we? Should we go and have a quick look at Reddit? Something along here. Apparently Sar's only injured for 1 week. It's not too severe. Where was that thing I saw? Oh, here. Defensive strength ratio that somebody's put together. It's kind of combines the defence with who they've played. It kind of rewards players that have done well against stronger teams. So it kind of takes into account the teams that players have played against. And you can see that Arsenal, Newcastle, Fulham have done well. Sunderland and Leeds have done well. Chelsea's all right. Palace, Bournemouth, all those teams are good. At the bottom, though, I know this is only a 3-week sample, but already creeping towards the bottom are Burnley, West Ham, Everton, quite low down. So maybe my theory that not having a proper home ground this season is going to affect them. Maybe that could come into play. Brentford and Wolves are down there. So I've tailored my defenders to at least mid-table teams, and players that are going to get defensive contribution points. So I think this defence is pretty good and is one I will not need to change, and any time one of these defenders comes off the bench, there's a very good chance we could see some defensive contribution points. Now my midfield, funnily enough, has gone back to what it was in game week 1, I think it was, or game week 2. I've got Salah, can't leave him out with Burnley and Everton. I just can't do it. If you're brave, you can do it, but I'm not very brave. I've made a reasonable start this season, I guess. It's about 2 million, which isn't too bad with no chips. But I'm not prepared to take the risk, basically, when Salah has Burnley and Everton, who he'll be very motivated for. Fernandes, I've thought about leaving him out and bringing him in game week 7 when he got Sunderland, but I thought I may as well put him in because Fernandes can get points against anybody, and he's just a machine, isn't he? Especially in this scoring format. Wirtz was one I've been oohing and ahhing all 2 weeks whether to put Wirtz in. Initially he was out for Semenyo, and then he scored that free kick in the international game. And I thought, hang on a minute, this guy's just got his confidence back. He's obviously in pretty good fettle, and it's Burnley. And this could well be the type of game that really suits him. And the other thing is, if I'm taking Salah out in game week 6, then at least it leaves me with a Liverpool player in that midfield. And I think Wirtz could actually still be a very good option. There's a reason why we all picked him at the beginning, because he is a very good player. We haven't seen him, the best of him yet, but hopefully that Burnley game could be the game. So I put him in. It's kind of a bit of a defensive move in a way. This whole wildcard, actually, I didn't want to change too much, like I said, and make it too radical. But it's also quite a good defensive ploy against all those people playing free hits this week. Like if the free hitters all do pretty well, I do pretty well too, because I share a lot of the players in common that free hitters have got. I didn't want to go Gakpo though, rather than Wirtz, because now Ekateke's turned up. Rao Isaac's turned up, sorry. Gakpo's not looking so good minute-wise, whereas Wirtz, I think, will be fine. And the strikers, Mateta, João Pedro and Gyökeres. Gyökeres has been rubbish. He was awful playing for Sweden during the week. He really was bad. But I'm just hoping that he's going to come good. He's a striker for Arsenal. He's on penalties. They've got great fixtures coming up. They've got Forest. We don't know if we're going to play a high line. They'd be crazy to just play a high line straight off the bat, I think. But you never know what they're going to do. And I've just got to trust that Gyökeres comes right. I did think about going with Watkins instead. But I do not want to buy Watkins when he's going to fall in price the day I buy him. So that puts me off him. Everton away is not a great fixture for Watkins anyway, and Villa haven't scored a goal all season, so he's just as much a risk as Gyökeres is, I think. I had a look at other alternatives. There's Visser, but he's a risk as well. So in the end, I just thought I'd put Gyökeres in and just hope he comes right. So hopefully he will. I'd much rather have Saka in there with him to supply him with passes though than Madueke, because Madueke is an extremely selfish player. But we shall see what happens. More hope. He's one of the, in terms of expected points for this week, he's like one of the highest. The bookmakers love him this week and everything. I don't really. But, often when it comes down to a case of me versus everybody else might be right. So I'll put him in there and we'll see. But I'm not overly confident, to be honest. And like I said, it's more the fact that the alternative options all have question marks around them as well. I could have gone for a 4.5 like I had at the start of the season. Oh, this is why my team's different, isn't it? Because I had Cole Palmer at the start of the season. Cole Palmer and a 4.5 striker. So this team is quite a bit different, really. Because he went out after game week 3 or before game week 3. I've forgotten now. It's so long ago. It seems ages ago, doesn't it, when we last played some matches. So that's my updated team anyway. We'll have a look at, we'll go back to Reddit and see what's what on there. They've got the scout team. So this is a scout team for this week. So it's got Mateta, João Pedro, Haaland captain. No, it has got Salah. So it's gone with Salah and Haaland. I looked at Salah and Haaland wildcards. I didn't like them. Didn't like them at all. So this has got Salah, Eza, Semenyo and Josh King starting at home to Leeds, which could be good for him, I guess. I think I'd be quite happy if he scores, even though he's on my bench, because it will kind of cement his place in the team, won't it? So he's got, they're going to put Anderson in home to Leeds, so I've got Anderson. Chalobah at Brentford. I didn't go with Chalobah because Fofana's nearing fitness. Chelsea have got Champions League. And they do still have players that they can rotate into that defence. So I've avoided them, and I've got Sanchez. So Munoz, very popular. Like I said, I could have gone with Munoz. But I do think over the course of the season, there isn't going to be much to choose between Munoz and Lacroix. And Lacroix is cheaper. And every penny counts. Every penny counts, because I've looked forwards and it's difficult getting players in. So, money's important, which is partly why I wildcarded in the first place, to avoid drops on Gooey and Strand Larsen and Palmer and whoever else I kicked out. Sarr, I think. Sarr went as well. Cunha, he dropped in price tonight. He was actually in my pre-wildcard team as well. And this team here has got Pope in goal. So Sarr is only out for 1 week by the look of it. It was Fabianski's come back, but apparently he's only going to be like a kind of advisor, probably. He's not going to play much, I think, unless it's in the Carabao Cup or something. Leeds keeper's only out for a couple of weeks, I think. What else have we got here? Munoz rose in price. And Saka fell in price again. Cunha fell in price. Turkey and Solly March from Brighton. What's this here, peeps? I do not know. I've only got 160 point, 160 something. I'm not even on that thing. Some people have got like 270 points already. Like 100 behind. So I think that's about it on there. So basically, this is my wildcard team. Game week 5. I'm going to bench boost. That's the plan anyway. I need all 15 players to come through this game week uninjured. What are the odds? What are the odds, peeps? And I had a dream last night. I tell you, I had a dream. It was a very vivid dream I had. Gyökeres got sent off. And I woke up. I didn't think it was real. But I did think it was so kind of vivid, almost like a prophecy rather than a dream. So So it's got me a bit worried. So if Jokeres gets sent off, remember where you heard it, peeps. You'd be calling me the soothsayer if he gets sent off. Because honestly, it was like a premonition that he was going to get sent off that I had last night. So it woke me up. That's how bad it was. That's how obsessed I am with FPL. Woken up by that bloody prick. Right, so game week 5. Hopefully I can play this bench boost finally. Won't be fantastic probably, but I will be happy with 10 points. Game week 6, 2 options. I've set this team up so that it can either free hit, or if it doesn't free hit, it's still fine. If Salah's not good, he'll be permanently leaving for Haaland in game week 6. If Salah is good in the next 2, he might be temporarily leaving to accommodate Haaland on a free hit. If I decide that I need Haaland, which it could be risky going without him, because there are going to be an awful lot of people free hitting Haaland in game week 6. So I might well join them if I decide I want to keep Salah. If I don't want to keep Salah, he will be gone. Game week 7, I'm looking at bringing in Gabriel for Virgil van Dijk. I'm not interested in Raya because he's just a goalkeeper. But I am interested in Gabriel when they get good fixtures, because attacking returns and all that type of thing. So I might well replace Virgil van Dijk with Gabriel in game week 7. You could say, why not do it now? I mean, Arsenal got like 2 or 3 bad fixtures. Liverpool have got good ones. I quite fancy Virgil van Dijk to actually do well in these next couple of matches. And if Liverpool are looking better defensively, I might not even bother getting Gabriel. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of a half-planned one. Game week 9, Palmer's coming back. So if Palmer looks really good beforehand, could come back earlier, could come back in game week 6 even. So options are open. I think it's a pretty good wild card. I haven't destroyed my team. I haven't done anything ridiculous, like go 5 at the back. And well, not ridiculous, I mean, those things can work. Like we showed, we had that debate on the pubcast last night. They can work, but I just wanted to keep it sensible. Do you know what I mean? I know you lot always say my team's too sensible, but I didn't want to do anything too radical. I just wanted to tidy up and generally improve the defence and that. And I think that's a good thing to do with a World Cup, because really, I think it's an overrated chip. And especially when we've got so many this season, that using it just to tidy up the structure before it drags on and becomes a problem is not a bad thing to do. I mean, I could have limped along with my other team. Although normally my old team outscores my new team. So I would not be surprised if the old team beats the new team. I think I've thrown out Pedro Porro. Could do well this week. No, I've sold him, he probably will. Who else did I kick out? Not too many, because I brought most of them back in, haven't I? Which is why. See, I mean, I had Strand Larsen. He's not going to hurt me this week. I had Gooey. He's not going to hurt me. I had Sarr and Cunha, so they're not going to hurt me either. So I can't really suffer too badly, because I probably did need to actually wildcard that team, I think. After bringing in Cunha and having him injured, it put my team in a bit of a tricky spot. You can argue that was my mistake, was bringing Cunha in the first place. But we didn't know he was going to get injured, peeps. Anyway, I'm off now. If anything changes, I will go onto the chat on the video and put in a pinned comment saying I've changed something. Otherwise, this will be a team. You know, right? You never know. We could get some exciting team news, but I doubt it because they don't tell us anything these days, peeps. So, like and subscribe. I will be back on Saturday night with live reaction. I think we're doing a watch along or something. I don't really like watch alongs, to be honest, because I'd rather just be watching Chelsea rather than having to talk about it online, live. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'll talk to you all later, peeps. So like and subscribe, and cheers for now.